My name's Erin Gee. I'm working on a piece called Mouthpiece XIII, Mathilde of Loci, Part 1. Well, here are some earlier pieces. The whole idea behind the Mouthpiece was the idea of the possibility of erasing ego from a vocal performance. So Mouthpiece 1 is based on a Sanskrit text. I took the order of the sounds of the Sanskrit text and extracted them and mutated them. For example, the text that I used was Riksho Akshare Parame Vyoman. It starts like this, and it goes on. And the beginning of Mouthpiece 1 is I mean, I basically call it non-semantic vocal writing. I mean, you're a person on stage, and so much of vocal literature is about expressing a character, especially heightened emotion. And so my impetus behind that was to try to erase. It's impossible, but that was the whole goal.
My name is Colin Gee. I'm collaborating with Erin Gee, my sister, on this project. And this is the 4th or 5th collaboration that we've worked on. Every collaboration has been different. We don't have set roles in the collaboration, but rather tools that we can offer each other to develop projects that are interesting to both of us. That was an early discovery that we were doing very similar things, that she was using vocalized sounds, working with phonemes, the smallest particle of speech, and removing the semantic meaning, and that I was working with kind of the smallest particles of behavior. I've been working with different theatrical styles for a while, comédie dell'arte, melodrama, tragedy, bouffon. I'm saying, okay, there's a character who's at some sort of moment of choice. These are the performance styles we're treating it with. And what I'm interested in is the way the character is navigating that choice at that moment. And I want to give that navigation its own language, which is fairly clown-like. The character itself, considering from here, to here, to here, to here. I could go back to here, no, to here, or maybe to here, back to here, and then returning to the narrative flow. But that there are these moments in knowing ourselves within a narrative flow that do remove the individual from the narrative flow. And I want to see that. I want to see this circling and returning. And that's clown. That's clowning. You arrive to the door, and you should be knocking on the door and moving through, but you can't find the handle, and so there's all this material that generates from not being able to continue, which is just about the character being confounded. And we, as the audience, are not interested in what's on the other side of the door. We're interested in him, figuring out how to get through the door, and, not arriving. And what that tells us about this character, we recognize ourselves in that. One of the things that we're looking to do is to really narrow that frequency within the spectrum of the presentation. Though this work isn't seeking laughs, it is seeking that trigger of recognition.